This is where the power of stillness truly lies. It is not just about the absence of sound or activity, it is the presence of trust, faith, and surrender. When we stop fighting against the current, when we stop striving to make things happen on our own, we open ourselves to the possibility that life can work in ways we cannot yet comprehend. We allow space for synchronicities, for unexpected opportunities, for the people and experiences that are meant for us to come into our lives. At the heart of this stillness is a deeper understanding that everything we need is already within us, and the universe, in its infinite wisdom, will bring us what we are meant to have. It is not about waiting passively for things to happen, but about letting go of the need to force things to happen. When we trust in the process, when we stay silent and allow life to unfold naturally, we find that the pieces of our lives begin to fit together in ways that are far greater than we could have imagined. We are constantly surrounded by the noise of external expectations, social pressures, and the relentless drive to achieve. But true peace does not come from meeting these external demands. It comes from the peace we cultivate within ourselves. When we choose silence over constant action, when we let go of the need to fill every moment with something, we reconnect with a deeper sense of purpose and alignment. In this space of silence, we find the clarity we need to take the next step on our journey, without fear, without doubt, and without the need to control every outcome. The wisdom of silence invites us to trust in the process of life, to trust that everything we need will come to us when the time is right. It asks us to relinquish the belief that we must constantly be doing in order to be worthy, to succeed, or to feel fulfilled. In the quiet moments, we rediscover the truth that life is not something we have to force or control. It is something we must allow ourselves to experience with grace, patience, and surrender. In this silence, we learn to listen not just to the world around us, but to the voice within. This is where true transformation occurs. When we stop fighting, when we stop trying to make things happen, we create the space for our authentic selves to emerge. We step into the flow of life, no longer resisting or pushing, but moving with the natural rhythm of existence. In doing so, we find that everything we desire, everything we need, will come to us not through force or effort, but through allowing, through silence, and through trust. We have been conditioned to believe that silence is a void, a lack of something. But in truth, it is in the silence that we find everything we need. It is in the stillness that we are most connected to our deepest selves, to the flow of life, and to the wisdom that resides within us. When we allow ourselves to be silent, when we allow life to unfold naturally, we find that everything aligns in its own perfect time, and we are exactly where we need to be. The power of silence lies not in what we are doing, but in what we are allowing to happen. When we stop trying to control every moment, when we stop striving to make things happen, we create the space for life to move through us in its most natural and beautiful form. In the end, it is not about doing, achieving, or foreseeing it. It is about being, trusting, and allowing everything to unfold as it is meant to. When we embrace the wisdom of silence, we open ourselves to the natural flow of life, and everything will come to us in its own time, effortlessly and with grace. This is where the idea of staying silent becomes powerful. When we cease our constant striving, we stop interfering with the flow of life. By trusting in the unfolding of events and in our own inherent wisdom, we allow things to come together effortlessly. It's not about being passive or complacent. Rather, it's about being open, receptive, and willing to let life reveal itself to us, without our needing to control every detail. In a way, silence is a form of communication. When we are silent, we are listening not just to the world around us, but to the deeper currents of existence that are always present but often go unnoticed. Silence creates space for intuition to emerge. It opens the doorway to inner guidance, which is often drowned out by the noise of our thoughts and desires. It's in the stillness that we are most attuned to the subtle signs, the small nudges, and the intuitive insights that guide us on our path. Think about the moments when you've experienced true inspiration or insight, Often they come when you're least expecting them, when you're not actively trying to solve a problem or create something. They come when you are at ease, when you have let go of the need to control the outcome. This is the magic of silence. It allows the mind to relax, the heart to open, and the body to be in a state of receptivity. It's in this state that the natural wisdom of life can flow through us. Our tendency to overthink, to ruminate on past mistakes or future fears, often keeps us stuck in patterns of stress and anxiety. The more we try to control our thoughts, the more we reinforce the feeling of being overwhelmed. But when we give ourselves permission to let go, to release the need to constantly be in motion, we invite a different experience of life. We step into the present moment, free from the weight of the past and the pressure of the future. And it is here in the present moment that everything we need can be found. When we allow silence to guide us, we begin to realize that the world does not need our constant intervention. Life is not a race, and success is not something that can be forced. We often think that if we do not act quickly, if we do not make every moment count, then we will fall behind. But this sense of urgency is often rooted in fear, the fear of not being enough, of not doing enough, or of missing out. However, this fear is an illusion, a product of the overactive mind. When we let go of this fear and trust in the natural rhythm of life, we begin to see that everything unfolds in its own time. In the midst of our fast-paced, noisy world, we often find ourselves caught up in the relentless pursuit of achievement, success, and constant action. The world tells us that we must always be doing, striving, pushing forward, and that if we are not actively engaged in work, then we are somehow falling behind. It's a narrative that has been deeply ingrained in us since childhood. We are taught to act, to speak, to assert, and to always be moving. Yet, in the silence, in the space between thoughts and actions, there is a profound wisdom. This is the truth we must learn, that by staying silent, by letting go of the need to control every moment, everything will come to us naturally. We live in a time when the noise of the world, both external and internal, is deafening. The constant bombardment of information, social media updates, to-do lists, and pressures of modern life can leave us feeling overwhelmed and disconnected. We search for answers outside ourselves, constantly seeking guidance from experts, books, or the opinions of others. But rarely do we pause to consider that the answers, the peace, and the alignment we are seeking might already be within us, waiting for us to step back and listen. There is a natural rhythm to life, a flow that exists beyond our thinking minds, our plans, and our strategies. It is easy to forget that we are not separate from this flow. We are part of it. Just as the seasons change without our intervention, just as the sun rises and sets without us having to orchestrate it, life unfolds on its own. When we align ourselves with this natural rhythm, when we allow ourselves to become still and quiet, things start to fall into place effortlessly. We stop pushing against the current and instead learn to move with it. Many people misunderstand silence. They see it as an absence, a void, something to be filled. But silence is not emptiness. It is a space of potential. In that silence, we allow ourselves to let go of the incessant need to control, to force things into being. It is in that stillness that we can access a deeper level of awareness, one that is not clouded by the noise of our thoughts, our anxieties, or our worries. When we stop speaking, when we stop acting, we make room for clarity to emerge. The mind, which is often preoccupied with the past and the future, becomes quiet enough to connect with the present moment. At its core, silence is not about doing nothing, it's about allowing. It's about stepping into a state of surrender, where we trust that what we need will come to us, in its own time and in its own way. We often feel that we must exert ourselves to make things happen, that if we are not working hard enough, we will miss out or fail. Yet, by trying to force outcomes, we often block the very thing we seek. It's the paradox of life. The harder we push, the more we resist the natural flow of events.